Gaudy. Gaudy Stats. Gaudy Stats. Good God, that's Gaudy. Welcome to Gaudy Stats.
With Ben Simmons.
What's on the menu, Benny boy?
3 men converged to one little speck in cyberspace. One little dot. Tiny microscopic dot in the internet. They met there digitally and they conversed about fantasy football. Late night, Gaudy Stats, deep into the night, into the wee hours. One man was inside of a car talking to himself, seemingly. Is it sad? No. Could we have been out at a bar? Yeah. At a club, dancing away the night, dancing away our troubles, our fears. Of course. Could we be out even selling our bodies? Yes, but no. We decided to talk fantasy football. My friend Kemp, my friend Sam, we got on the line. This is a punchy, drunken, sleepy, 3 guys just hashing it out. Gaudy Stats Podcast, Fantasy Football, Part 3, the trilogy. It's coming to an end, folks. Soon the season's going to start. Okay, without further ado.
Imagine if Bernard had been, sorry, one real quick though. That's just a classic, like, to me, he's a classic wrong team kind of player, where it's like, imagine if Bernard were on the Saints or the Patriots or the Chiefs. You know, imagine what kind of use those teams would be getting out of him. You know, and instead, he's stuck on the Bengals.
If you were on the Patriots, oh God.
Okay, anyway, keep going.
It's true. If he was a pass-catching running back on the Patriots, he'd be so good.
No, he'd be great. Not only the Patriots, but yeah.
Oh God, that's disgusting. Yeah. What's going on? Oh my God.
Go on.
Jesus
go
Christ.
on.
I think I'm glad this podcast is rated explicit.
Late night? It's like late night.
You know, I was just thinking everyone was doing a real good job of not being profane, and then that happened.
And then you had to talk about Giovani Bernard possibly with the Patriots. Whose fault's that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to
That's
accept
on me.
responsibility for that.
I brought up Jarvis Landry and I brought up the Pets.
How are you going to get that out of the chairs from the car?
It's all over. It's all over the place, man. Oh God! I gotta get my new dog in here.
You got?
I got a new dog. I gotta get him to lick this thing.
That's really gross. Really gross.
I assumed you were walking around the neighborhood, and that was just into a bush.
Yeah.
No, he's in a car. I'm sure the light's on, so people can see you just in your car.
Yeah.
Your neighbors are watching you.
Really, really sketchy in my own house. I'm in my own house, and I look totally sketchy right now because all they see is this light from the laptop, just kind of going nuts.
You're doing surveillance. You're watching.
Passing by, like, what the hell is this?
Get your binoculars out so people can. It looks like you're doing surveillance.
Let me just say, I fully expect a cop to come knocking on the door at some time in this podcast. I'm gonna say, hold on, guys. Can y'all just pause it real quick? Gotta talk to a cop, but knock on wood here. But
speaking of Bengals,
but back to
Andy Dalton. I just want to ask you guys about Andy Dalton really fast. This is because I'll reveal something to you. As you know, I love Brees. I love getting a quarterback. I think this is a year actually where, more than any other year, besides maybe Aaron Rodgers, there's not another real quarterback who could get you 40 touchdowns. You know, and I'm looking hard at some of these bottom barrel quarterbacks. Andy Dalton, Tyrod Taylor. I mean, I guess
I actually like Tyrod. I like Tyrod.
Tyrod, man, he's very intriguing. And who else was I thinking of?
Like
Matt
Waddles.
Stafford. He's not a bottom barrel guy, but like I don't know. There's a lot of guys kind of packed together. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Stafford finishes in the bottom half of the QB1s, and he goes for cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going for, what is he going for? God, he's ranked so far down. Let's see.
What about
$6?
What about a post type buy on Mariota in a new offense?
Yeah,
I like Mariota. I think him with Taywan Taylor.
Titans and the Bears are both two teams who just played prehistoric football last year, and they were so stuck in the 1990s or the 1940s in the case of the Bears, and it's just going to be exciting. Yeah, right. It's going to be exciting to watch them be in this century and have new systems where they can like take full advantage of the weapons at their disposal. You know, I mean the Bears are actually potentially going to be kind of fun to watch. You guys talked about that in the last episode,
I'm
but
excited.
I do like Mitch Trubisky
he's another quarterback you can get for really cheap.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Ben, I don't know if you know, but like I've been kind of conversing with Osborne and Sam about possibly sometime thinking about going to 2 QBs, just because there's so many good QBs that and we'll see how it all works out. I was also thinking maybe change TDs to 6 points and interceptions to 4 points.
Okay, the podcast is not for rule change proposals.
I know. I did not to get too bogged down on rule changes, but
6 points and 3 points. Why would you go to 4 points?
To make quarterbacks who, because you're keeping that 2 point differential the same instead of 4 and 2, 6 and 4, but you're making quarterbacks who don't throw interceptions. You're making that worth more. So an Aaron Rodgers will be worth more in a draft, or Russell Wilson or Tom Brady. But
but fast forward. Yeah,
but
go.
Trubisky is I think is a great buy low candidate. Marcus Mariota I also think is a great buy low candidate. About Mariota is the fact that they have Derrick Henry and they have, they brought in Deion Lewis. I mean, they're not just going to be sitting on the sidelines. It's like, I don't know. I wonder how much,
Who's a quarterback? I was going to say, who's a quarterback both of you would fade?
I think just all the quarterbacks are kind of bunched together. There's not as many, like for a while there was like, Stafford, Brees, Rodgers, Brady were all getting like insane stats, like 5,000 yards passing, 30 plus touchdowns. Like Stafford had 41 touchdowns and 5,000 yards one year. And those days, last year was not a big year for quarterback production. I mean,
it wasn't.
Russell Wilson was the number one quarterback. He had a great year, but I'm just saying in years past, you could bank on Drew Brees getting like 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns every single week. 3 or more touchdowns every single week. And it's just not the case anymore.
Quite a few guys got hurt though, so you also got to put that into into the equation too.
I don't know, man. It pains me to say it. It pains me deep in my plums. It pains me to say it.
With the way that
Can you feel the tension in the air? I know I can.
In my plums. No, I think they're going to be a running based offense. I think it's pretty clear that's where they're headed. They're trying to protect Brees. Their defense, more defensive oriented. I could be wrong here. I do think it's true that he had kind of a fluky year, not getting as many touchdowns. I watched a lot of those games with much frustration as, he hit Michael Thomas on a slant. He would get tackled at the 2-yard line, and Mark Ingram would run it in. That was a pretty regular occurrence. So it was kind of fluky in that regard. but just like I don't know. And like when you look at his his pass numbers.
That did happen a lot, by the way. That did happen a lot. You're right about that.
You look at his totals, and he's got like okay totals, not good for him. I mean, he's got great completion percentage, but we don't care about that. That doesn't matter in fantasy. So he's got a good completion percentage. He got decent, passing yards, but it was very un-Breeze-like. And also, if you had him every week during the regular season, he let you down so many weeks. Like he was just a killer, and it made me fall out of love with him.
Well, he did finish 7th. He was a QB1. He finished.
But look
7th.
Look at his game log.
He was if he got 8 more points, he would have finished QB6. So
by Breeze standards,
I know. By Breeze standards, it wasn't Breeze, but you're not going to be able. You don't have to get him at the Breeze price this year. You're gonna.
But I don't
be able to get him.
I'd rather stream quarterbacks than
for
have him every week.
$5 or less. You'll be able to get him for $5 or less this year.
I'm sure you should take him because I won't be bidding with you. I mean,
maybe I will. He's going
for 10 right now on average. He's going
to hear Simmons talk about streaming quarterbacks, I feel like I'm listening to Bill Belichick say, "Well, I'm going to pay every one of my star players the full market value." It's very jarring.
Well,
I just want to tell you something. Breeze had 5,200 passing yards in 2016. 5,200. Okay? And I'm also going to tell you, since 2011, here are Breeze's passing numbers.
No. I mean, I get that he's like this. Like he was a stud. He was like top 2, top 3 quarterback.
He hadn't thrown for he threw for 23 touchdowns last year, and before the lowest he had thrown. I'm not making any sense here, but he hadn't thrown that few touchdowns since 2003 when he threw 11.
Wow.
No, and I get it. I do get it, but you're not going. My argument is that you're not going to have to now. Drew Brees is going to be. You're going to be able to get him at such a discount this year that
you could be right.
He becomes enticing. He does become enticing.
Listen, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna fall back in love with him and end up getting him for $25 in the draft. It could happen. I'm just saying that he broke my heart last year, and it still hurts. Still hurts, Kemp.
That's tragic.
Simmons, you're gonna fade Breeze. Kemp, you're saying you would fade Cousins?
Yeah. And I was trying to speak this with Ben last time. I'm not the biggest Cousins fan.
You just don't like the way he looks. That's what you told me.
I don't like the way he looks. I don't like I think he's
I don't like his stupid face.
You don't like the cut of his jib?
Yes, exactly. His stupid face. His goddamn weird. Face. Just annoying. And he
smiles a lot.
There's nothing about. Am I wrong to think that I look at him and I just see a little bit better Alex Smith, who, by the way, I would actually draft. I think I would actually draft Alex Smith ahead of Kirk Cousins.
He's an interesting sleeper, honestly. Alex Smith.
I don't know if I don't really even really like Kirk Cousins as a player, but I think in that offense, you're forcing me to defend him here because I think in that offense, I'm not sure it's going to translate to actual football stuff. But I think in fantasy, I think I'm kind of with Simmons here. I think
that is his only saving
grace. Pretty good position.
Let's look at Case Keenum last year.
Offense.
Wait, do you think he's an upgrade from Case Keenum?
Yes, I do.
I do. I agree. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well,
I've got him as my
last year.
8.
I mean, if you look at Case Keenum's year,
extremely down on him, but if I got Kirk Cousins, if I ended my draft and I'm like Kirk Cousins is my starting QB, I'd be like, all right, I wouldn't feel good about that.
Yeah, Well, to bring it back to Drew Brees, I mean, Brees' down year, which was this past year, was still like close to what Kirk Cousins did last year. He didn't have the same rushing touchdowns as Kirk Cousins did, but he finished with more passing yards, less touchdowns. He had 23. Kirk Cousins had 27. Brees had 8 interceptions. Cousins had 13. Cousins had 4 touchdowns rushing. Brees had 0, I believe.
And he was less than 10 points ahead of him.
Kemp, that's to your point. The Brees is still like, he's still kind of like, I would say, you could draft him as maybe like an above average quarterback, but like, I guess what I was saying, he's just not the kind of guy that can like win you weeks on a consistent basis. Like,
yeah, if you're bidding that price on Drew Brees, you're buying the capital D, capital B, name brand Drew Brees, not necessarily what he produced, what he showed in 2017.
Yeah. So you're right. You can get him for cheaper, but he's not going to be giving you. I just don't know if he's going to be giving you a better value. You could be right though. I mean, I could end up drafting him. I'm already kind of talking myself into drafting him now. For saying all those bad things about him. I'm coming back around on the bend, and I got my eyes. My eyes are really bright, and I'm looking at Brees, and I'm starting to fall back in love again. So thank you, Kemp.
Hey,
for
I just don't want you to make these rash decisions.
So can you guys? I'll get them for $3. Can you not bid on them? Do you mind? Just don't bid on. I'll just put down 3, and you guys just.
Because let me also tell you. So they got Cameron Meredith now. Who else? Willie Snead. They've got Ben Watson. You know we loved Ben Watson. Then he also got.
Speaking of old.
He is kind of old, but hey, if there's one position that like you tend to see older players, it's tight end. And then you've got that rookie Traquan Smith, who lit it up at Central Florida when they won the national title. This past year they won the college national championship.
Kinda.
They're
did.
national champions. I'm not giving that to Alabama. But Traquan Smith was like the guy at Central Florida as far as the offensive weapon goes. I mean, he's at.
Would you say he's going to be the next Brashad Perryman out of Central Florida?
Wow, you're on fire today, Sam. With your
he's really exploded with the Ravens.
Digs
dominated with Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles' favorite target at Central Florida, Brashad Perryman.
Look,
Blake Bortles is gonna have a good year,
if you ever compare Traquan Smith to Brashad Perryman again, I will smack you. Traquan Smith is going to be Drew Brees' second favorite target behind Michael Thomas in not too long. We'll give it a year. Because he's a rookie, but I mean, I see good things in the future of Traquan Smith.
Yeah,
I love that guy. So I mean,
can I give you
he's got weapons. Like Drew Brees has weapons that he didn't have last year. So I mean, I think he's going to go for cheap, and that's where
Can I give you one that I'm going to fade?
Who's that?
And this is not about talent. This is purely about the exact 2018 situation, but I think that paying any appreciable amount, if he is in the top 10, for example, I think paying any appreciable amount for Carson Wentz might be a mistake, because I think that you've got the afterglow of the championship. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew, but the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles as quarterback. But Wentz is now the starter again.
Oh God!
I think that from what I can have surmised and read, they're being kind of cautious with him, even though he seems to be doing pretty well. He's not going to play in the preseason. I think that it wouldn't surprise me at all if he started out, but they were like, kind of trying to ease him back in and not.
Sam going out on a limb.
He's a third-year guy, and I just think if you're going to have to pay any kind of appreciable amount for him, I think that that might be a mistake this year. That being said, I mean, as everybody saw in the first 12 weeks of 2017, he is really, really good. And I think
he's going for $8.
Sam,
Yeah.
you do know
okay.
you do know that he
8
tore his
to-
ACL last year, right? He's injured.
Yes.
He's injured. He might not even play week 1. You're
No,
telling
I
me
think
that's
I
the
thought
guy
he was
you're
on
going
track
to
to play
fade as
week
a
1.
guy that might
I
not
think
even play?
he's supposed to play. I think he's supposed to play.
I think he's supposed to play, but they're just being cautious.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Look, I'm saying if anyone who is in the afterglow of the Eagles championship and thinking, well, they won, and now they're going to have a guy who's even better than Nick Foles back, and expecting that to translate to fantasy stats, I think that there could be
You're bringing my ulcers back.
I think even for $8, that's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I could just see where they really put the reins on him in the first half of the season and make sure he's like back into football shape and is comfortable moving on his knee, moving around before they kind of turn him loose.
He got a crazy
I will
number
go
of
out on a limb and say
touchdowns,
I don't think Carson Wentz is that
fluky
good
number
of
of
a quarterback.
Wow, the hot take.
That is a pretty hot take.
I don't think he's that good. He's inaccurate.
This is your effort to pump up Nick Foles, right?
No. The Nick Foles is comparable to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is not he's inaccurate. I think he's got running ability great. All right, yes, he's an athlete. He's got running ability, but I don't think he
has an incredible arm. He has an incredible arm.
Yeah, he does.
He can throw like 70 yards.
So does Josh Allen. What does that mean? Yes, he's got a great arm.
We saw Carson Wentz. Josh Allen hasn't taken a team to be 11-1. They were like 11-1.
He's like a throwback for me. For me, he's like a throwback Ben Roethlisberger, like kind of running around the pocket. Maybe he'll throw the first two away, and then on third down, he runs around and finds the guy. It's like he's not like a precision passer, but I think he's effective with his brand of like chicken with a head cut off, running around, finding the guy open.
Carson Wentz still doesn't go through his reads. I never saw him do that anyway.
Neither did Dan Marino.
I think to me he's a steadier. You know who he actually kind of reminds me of?
If his first read isn't there, he panics, or he's a
steadier. I think of him as like a steadier Dante Culpepper in his glory years. He reminds me of Culpepper a little bit.
Culpepper, love Dante.
Well, I mean,
Culpepper was great in like 03, 04. And
with Randy Moss. Yeah,
4 years.
He might not get that third read, but then he either knows he doesn't turn it over a lot, or he can run. He's got really good pocket sense, and I did not think he was going to be this good. But the idea that you have to compare him to Josh Allen because he's inaccurate sometimes. I mean, I think he's shown plenty.
No, I didn't compare him to Josh Allen. I just said, he's got a strong arm. I was like, well, so does Josh Allen.
Yeah, but it's manifested itself in the form of an 11-1 record in the NFL to start a season with wins, and it is not with Josh Allen.
All right.
He also ran the ball. He ran the ball almost 5 times a game. Carson Wentz did.
I will say,
23 yards a game.
I didn't.
You really don't think he's good, Kemp?
Honestly, I do not think he's that
you have
great
the right to think
of a QB.
You have the right to think that.
I don't think he's that good of a QB. I think there's a lot of work there that still needs to be done with him. Because he
what would you do? How would you?
He doesn't get his first read out.
How would you groom him?
Okay, here let's
I would
play
tell
a game.
him to stop running the ball.
Years. Ready? Next 10 years.
Yes.
We'll go by quarterback. I'll give you a list. Ready? Rapid fire. No hemming and hawing. Give me quick answer. Next 10 years, Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott?
Pass.
Tough one.
Okay,
that
Carson.
I can't.
You passed? Okay, great. Good answer for this game. Carson Wentz or
I'm gonna probably take
Mitch Trubisky.
I'm taking Carson Wentz in both those.
Carson Wentz. I'd say Carson Wentz over Mitch Trubisky.
What about Dak
Carson
Prescott?
But that's just.
No, hold on,
but,
Sam.
but
Hold on, Sam.
Hold on.
Kemp, you got to
That's
answer that question.
Mitch Trubisky's a blank slate still, so I can't that's hard to say.
What was that? Dak Prescott.
Mitch Trubisky is a blank slate. He's got.
That's the whole point of the game, Kemp, is to try and project based on your trove of knowledge.
But based on my knowledge of Mitch Trubisky, he wasn't asked to do anything last year. I have no idea what Mitch Trubisky is.
Kemp, why did you?
They don't
Kemp,
go out on a limb.
guys.
They give you safe answers.
Okay, all right, go. Who's your next one? Okay, go. Who's your next one? And I said Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
It's just a game.
Carson Wentz.
Okay. Right.
Did your brain short circuit? What happened?
No,
okay.
I like Dak Prescott better, but he's got a terrible coaching staff there.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they're not terrible.
If you had Dak Prescott in Philadelphia in Coach Pederson's offense, yes, and Carson Wentz in Dallas, I would take Dak Prescott every day of the week.
Okay. No, I mean context is important.
I have to take Wentz.
Doug Pederson's he's like the new guru of the NFL. Everyone is lauding Doug Pederson. I feel like he can do no wrong at this point.
Okay, Carson Wentz or Jared Goff?
Oh, Doug Pederson or Bill Belichick?
You're right. I'm picking Carson Wentz in all of these, but I like Carson Wentz.
Answer. Doug Pederson, Bill Belichick. Answer the question. Doug Pederson, Bill Belichick.
Well, come on.
Differently. Here's one I know you'll go the other way on. Carson Wentz or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh yeah, come on. It's Jimmy G all the way.
I would take Jimmy G. But
you gotta take Belichick's boy on that.
I'm gonna take Wentz, but I do like Garoppolo.
Wow. Sorry.
I do like Garoppolo. I think he can throw it. Okay, what about Wentz or? Well, I'm not gonna give you rookies because there's truly no potential at all.
Baker Mayfield. I'll take Baker Mayfield every day of the week.
You'll take Mayfield over Wentz?
Absolutely, I'll take Baker Mayfield.
Oh, wow.
And he's the only rookie that I would take over Carson Wentz.
What about Wentz or Mahomes?
Wentz.
I can't believe we're actually talking about Wentz or Mahomes. Well, I guess Mahomes could be good this year, but it seems crazy to think.
Mahomes has the potential to be very good.
Yeah, Mahomes does have the potential to be good. I just like
Wentz.
Texas Tech.
What about Wentz or Mariota?
Mariota.
Okay, interesting. Wentz or
are we just talking about better stats? Or are we talking about just better quarterbacks?
I'm saying
that's a fair question. I don't know.
I'm talking about
Wentz or Scott Tolzien.
Wentz or Elvis Grbac?
Tolzien, I kind of like Tolzien. I like the cut of his jib. I kind of want
Tim Rattay or Dak Prescott?
Yeah. Right?
Jeff Garcia or Matt Stafford?
Hey, well, yeah. Tim Rattay or Matt Stafford. Give me Tim Rattay all day. Give me the Louisiana Tech native there. I want
Trent Green
JP
or Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Multi-sports here? Yeah. Let's circle this back real quick.
What about Wentz or Watson? Last one. Wentz or Watson?
Deshaun Watson. I'll take Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I'd probably take Deshaun Watson.
Interesting.
I think I would.
I think that one is like dead even.
It is. It's close, but I mean, I would take Garoppolo over both of them. So it's it is what it is.
When's the last time somebody had as good of a rookie year as Deshaun Watson had at QB? I don't think it's that. I mean, I think that's like one of the best rookie QB performances ever.
Let's not go overboard with the superlatives here, Ben. I mean, it was like 4 or 5. It was like, what is it? 5 games? That was such a small sample size.
7 games.
It was six games or 7 games. It was an incredible.
It was 7 games.
It was
Yeah,
7
that's
games.
7
Well,
games. His last game, Kemp, was at Seattle, in the heart of the beast. 402 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
Let's
and 67 on the ground.
Let's not go overboard on Seattle's defense last year, because Seattle's defense last year kind of sucked until
It did. But I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
But you know,
I mean, it's still impressive.
I was hoping you would remember. Remember.
No, but wait a minute. It's still impressive, even if their defense wasn't as good as it has been, to go into that road environment
as a rookie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
he had an incredible run of games.
I'm a Deshaun Watson fan, guys. I love Deshaun Watson.
I think Wentz, Watson, and Garoppolo are all going to be pretty close to each other. Actually, I like all those guys, but
who's the bigger alpha? But who's the bigger alpha out of the 3?
Who's driving the car if they're all riding? Who gets the keys?
Wentz, Watson, and Garoppolo? It's going to be Garoppolo. Whatever the correct answer is, Garoppolo on all those.
Oh my God! Of course you actually answered that.
And
question.
this is being objective.
Belichick's boy.
Belichick's boy.
Yeah, that was the way you kept saying that was creepy.
Well, I mean, is it any creepier than texting the QB after every game to give him a big nice job, Jimmy? As Belichick is wont to do with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Was he sending JPEGs? Was he saying JPEGs?
Yes, and eggplant emojis. That's
Belichick's proud son.
Relationship.
His
I mean,
big,
he really liked Jimmy Garoppolo. That's Belichick's boy. So
you look great out there, Jimmy. You look great.
Jimmy, you look really. Let's go get dinner sometime here in town. Please, eggplant emoji.
What do you? Okay.
But look, can we turn it back to Philadelphia just 1 second here? We're talking about Carson Wentz and you know, tangentially Nick Foles, but let's what do you think about Ajayi, Sam?
Not a huge fan, to be honest. I don't know if I think that he's someone who you can't rely a lot on in the passing game. I actually really wouldn't be surprised at all if they feature Corey Clement a little bit more this year. And obviously they have that guy, Donnell Pumphrey, coming back. I don't know. I mean,
Darren Sproles is back too.
Sproles is back too, of course. Ajayi is he's not like a bad player, but I think that his good games tend to come in very specific situations, not unlike LeGarrette Blount sometimes, where I remember in Miami he had like crazy home road splits in terms of most of his really good games would come at home when the team was up and he would just be the like front runner kind of back. But then his bad games are like really, really bad. So if he's going in between RB10 and RB20 overall in our system, half PPR, I would say almost beyond a shadow of a doubt that at the price you'd have to pay to get him, I will not be interested.
Yeah, I go back and forth on Ajayi because on the one hand, I'm with you. You know, he's nothing exciting about him. He's in a committee backfield with Corey Clement and Darren Sproles, who, by the way, reports out of camp are that Darren Sproles looks like the Darren Sproles of old, that he's the best pass blocker in the backfield out of all the running backs. That he's, yeah, I mean that
I can hear Simmons just beaming. I can hear Simmons beaming.
There have been some pretty good reports on Darren Sproles. for this upcoming year. And Corey Clement's been getting a lot of love too, especially after the postseason that he had.
Simmons, would you say that Darren Sproles is like a son to you?
I would say he's like my father, my cousin, my brother, my son, my grandson,
and lover,
all mixed into, and well, that too, and all mixed into one.
Yeah,
all mixed into one.
Sorry, Kemp, continue. I just wanted to clarify that.
But like, so like I think his upside's capped because as far as touches go and opportunity. But then on the other hand, Philadelphia has the best offensive line in the league. Like the best, I think most people would say Philadelphia has the best team going into the season. They've got the best offensive line, and if you're going to bet on a team's offensive line, especially Philadelphia, who are you going to pick? You're going to pick the running back. Who's the running back? It's Ajayi. So like man, okay, well let me do Ajayi, but then I always go back to, well, no, his targets are going to be capped. So I go back and forth with Ajayi just as much as Alex Collins. And then I'll look at the, well,
I like Ajayi a little more than Collins, by the way. I like Ajayi a little more than Collins.
I have them right next to each other. I think they're boom boom.
Yeah.
But like I feel Ajayi's got a little bit more of an injury risk to him, so I think I've got Collins a little bit higher. But I don't know. I could change that by the time we get the season starts.
Swinging this a little bit over to Simmons, because I know Simmons' general philosophy when it comes to running backs. You're talking about that cap on targets with Ajayi. I think that personally, as a rule of thumb, the way that the NFL is now, like, if a running back doesn't have to get or doesn't have the opportunity to get 40 or 50 catches in a season, unless he is someone like Adrian Peterson or, in the last decade, Sean Alexander, I'm just probably not going to be that keen on him unless he's just an insane value. So someone like Ajayi, a lot of the curbed enthusiasm is coming from the fact that his targets will be capped.
Yeah.
That is something I'm kind of torn like Kemp is. I mean, because if they're going to be front running in all these games, they're going to be grinding these teams down with Ajayi. But in the games where maybe they'll fall behind, Sproles might be featured more, Corey Clement. It's kind of tough, but I don't know. Let's see where he's going. I'm kind of curious. Okay, he's going for $15. So
that's actually not unreasonable. That's reasonable.
Not that bad. I mean, last year he got, I think, like 870 rushing yards divided between two teams, 1 touchdown, which is disgusting. But they also have the Garrett Blount in Philly, so
right.
He's going to be their banger.
I have a feeling. Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to go for more than 15 in our league.
Well, and then it's just like, but then
he could be a great value, honestly.
Like Alshon Jeffrey, I'm not enamored with. I'm not enamored with Nelson Aguilar. I'm not. Like Zach Ertz, all right, that's something there, but like their offense doesn't really scare me as far as like, okay, who else are they going to focus the offense around if not Ajayi? Especially if you're thinking Carson Wentz is coming back early in the season, still coming off of a torn ACL and a torn MCL. Like I think they're going to be focusing on the run a little bit more. So, like I keep coming back to
you're gonna hate this answer. Well, I was gonna say you're gonna think this is a cop-out answer, but I think the focus is gonna be, could very well be that there's not going to be a focus, and it's going to be a lot like the Pats, where they're just giving a bunch of dudes the ball 5 or 6 times, and like Aguilar's getting a few catches, Ertz is getting worked in, Jeffrey's getting worked in. They throw some swing passes to Sproles and Clement. They're running Pumphrey or maybe Smallwood and Ajayi, together, putting them in where they're both in the backfield. I could just see a situation where they're not trying to overwork any one player, and the wealth is getting spread, and as a result, you don't have a whole lot of fantasy value, even though the team is really good, which in a lot of cases is what happens with the Patriots, right? Not to make two Patriots, but you know what I mean. Like you have a really good team, but a really good team does not always
they're able to spread it around enough to where no one person.
Right.
Well,
I don't know.
How much of LeGarrette Blount's workload is going to go to Ajayi, because he had 700 and something yards last year, LeGarrette Blount, and a lot of carries. And if you look at the 7 games with LeGarrette and Ajayi, they're making up roughly like 20 carries a game. So you would think those would be kind of like the pounder carries. I just think of kind of like the hard nosed like goal line or short yardage carries. So if he's gonna get some of those might go to Sproles, some could go to Corey Clement, but if he gets, let's say he gets 17 carries a game, that's really valuable in that offense. I mean, the touchdowns are odd that he only had 1 rushing touchdown. He had 1 receiving touchdown. It's odd. I would have thought he would have had more. And LeGarrette Blount only had, sure. Yeah, I think so. And LeGarrette Blount only had I think 2 or 3 touchdowns the whole year, which is weird.
Yeah.
You would think they would have more red.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, yeah. Ben, I would say that 17 carries is high. Like especially in this day and age, which you were talking about, all these, committee backfields, 17 carries a game, especially with Ajayi and the Philadelphia backfield. I wouldn't count on 17 carries.
How many would you say? How many would you give him? Because he got I think he averaged 12 a game.
I was going to say 12 to 13 a game is what I would average. What I would think he would average.
Let me see what he. Let me go see what he got last year. I'm just curious when he was in. I'm curious what he got when he was in Philadelphia. Ajayi.
If he's averaging a game, then I think his value becomes way more valuable. Or
he ran the ball. He ran the ball 10 times a game. He ran the ball 10 times a game last year with Philadelphia. And LeGarrette Blount.
So I could see him. I could see that increasing 3 or 4 more times a game. So or 2, somewhere between 12 and 14 is where I see Ajayi's workload going.
I was gonna say
LeGarrette Blount ran the ball 10 times a game. LeGarrette Blount ran the ball 10.8 times a game with Philadelphia. Ajayi did as well, but I'm not sure what their splits were those last 7 games.
Well, but remember now Darren Sproles is coming back, so he's going to eat into that, and Corey Clement is coming, and Corey Clement didn't come on until the latter half of the year last year.
No, it's true. So, and actually, now that I'm looking at the stats, Blunt's carries did drop when Ajayi was around. They did go down slightly, even though he did have 13 carries and 15 carries in weeks that Ajayi was playing. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think 17 is too crazy for kind of the short yardage kind of a power back role in that offense. I mean, what other power back do they have on the roster?
I don't think they have one. Well, they got Josh Adams, that rookie from Notre Dame, who I think they're I'm not too enamored with him. At least
they could give Corey Clement more work. They could just spread it out. You're right. I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's kind of a little bit of a risk, but I feel like his role is defined in that offense. He's got a lot of room to grow with his touchdowns. And it wasn't like he wasn't getting any catches. He got Let's see. Oh, he got 10 catches. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a big pass catcher.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
He's not,
10
but I think
catches for 90 yards.
he's a pretty good pass catcher though. Like he's not bad. I think he's actually
a good screen guy.
I think he's fairly solid at catching passes. He's not.
I
he's
just
not
don't
Jordan
think
Howard.
I don't think of him. He's not an elusive player though. I just don't think of him as. I think he's fine. I don't think he's slow, but I think he's like in the middle. I think he's neither a plotter nor a burner.
Well, I think he's.
That's what it's going to say on his fantasy epitaph.
Yeah,
neither a plotter nor a burner.
He's kind of like a throwback running back, honestly. He's like a workhorse running back who's going to be in a role player.
He's as good. He's as good as the line that's blocking in front of him. So, like, I think that's what. Like, so when you have a line like Phillies, he can make himself look really good. But when you get a piss poor line like that's at Miami a lot, like he can kind of he can make himself not look subpar. You know, he can.
Simmons, what about this comparison?
Marginal. What?
I was gonna say, what about to Simmons talking about a throwback? Because I totally agree with that. What about poor man's Eddie George? Is that a fair comparison?
I feel like he's got a little bit more wiggle and speed than Eddie George, but I do think he is like kind of a similar build in a way.
He kind of runs straight up. He's like runs really tall. He doesn't like run. He's not real low to the ground when he's running. Anyway, we've talked like 15 minutes on JJ. Why don't we talk about receivers and then wrap it up?
Perfect.
I thought we were going to talk about kickers for another 45 minutes.
Listen, Matt Bryant, the reports out of camp are he's still bald. He can still kick. He's still old. I mean, you want to get this fucking guy, okay?
Yeah, well, Morton Anderson's still in the league, right?
Yeah.
Is he? Because I've got two words for you: Caleb Sturgis. Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Anyway, give
me.
So
you want to talk about
give me
wide receivers?
I was gonna say, give me a top 30 or so receiver, a starting quality receiver who you think is flying under the radar.
AJ Green.
I feel
okay.
Like, yeah,
that
was
a good answer.
AJ Green is like perpetually slept on.
Lately, the Bengals have just sucked, and so he's been slept on for that reason.
Like AJ Green is a guy that is an individual, is this person, this athlete, this guy from Cincinnati.
All right, settle down.
That is AJ Green, this athlete from Cincinnati who plays wide receiver.
Okay.
Doesn't get a lot of love in the fantasy community. I believe he's getting slept on because he plays for Cincinnati. And he keeps giving you 1,000-yard seasons and 5, 6, 7 touchdowns every year. So what's not to like about him?
Hold on a second. Okay.
Oh, and now hold on. Now he's got John Ross next to him, and John Ross is going to ensure that they can't double cover AJ Green because John Ross has got some burners on him. As long as he's healthy.
Ross, who they reportedly considered putting at cornerback. That John Ross?
Well, he's super fast. He'd be playing dual roles.
Okay.
Look, Bengals. What
AJ Green?
They would.
If you're drafting, if you're drafting on talent and what a receiver looks like, and all of the measurables that Kemp you love so much, and even some of the tape, AJ Green is unquestionably still, even as he approaches 30. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind he's at least in the top 6 and maybe top 5 and maybe higher to some people. Okay, but to me,
you think he's not being slept on?
No, because I think his situation perpetually weighs him down. I don't think he ever has. I think you've reached the point where he's both injury prone. And I say this as someone who likes AJ Green, the talent, but I think that is a case of a franchise weighing a really good player down. Similar to Gio Bernard, by the way, who we just talked about already, although Green is obviously much better at his position than Gio is. But, like, to me, you just don't have a guy who is – there's not a high probability year to year at this point that A.J. Green, for example, is going to catch 100 passes, right? Or that he's going to have 1,600 yards, or that he's going to have double-digit touchdowns the way that there is, to me, with Antonio Brown, with Julio Jones, with Odell Beckham, with DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't think that you can put him in the same category because of his situation. Now, if he's $20 or $15 cheaper than that crop, then I totally agree. But I'm not sure that he's going to be $15 or $20 cheaper. I think he's valued, I have to say, I think he's kind of valued appropriately given all of the limitations with his situation.
Yeah, you might, because I'm kind of looking at this, and his ADP's like 8th, I believe, in Fantasy Pro. So yeah, and I'm looking at who's ahead of him, and it's not like I can I don't feel comfortable putting any of them. I don't feel comfortable putting anybody ahead of.
What's happening right now?
My phone's going off. My phone's going off. So talk amongst yourselves, boys. Hold on. All right, guys. Hey, guys, I'm going to have to bounce out of here. I got wifey calling me, telling me to come on in. I got kids screaming and...
Like a kid being outside and the mom...
For some reason, this is my fault. But the kids are crying inside, and somehow that's on me. Don't ask me why.
Wait,
Don't
are they
ask
crying
me
inside?
why it's my fault that the kids are crying, even though I'm outside.
Listen, Kemp.
You mean they're crying on the inside?
I guess they're crying for their
dad. Inside their bodies, internalizing a lot of sadness.
She's like, if you don't come inside in 5 minutes, I'm coming outside and banging on the car until you come in.
This is a really creative way to tell us that you don't want to talk to us anymore. I have to say that.
No, I know. After 2.5 hours, I'm done talking to you guys.
It's been a long time.
All these wide receiver secrets to myself.
Until next time. when you reveal all your secrets about wide receivers.
Yes.
Talk to you gentlemen then.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yes.
All right. Sorry
for well. Yeah, no, I'm good. Bye.